The wrestling journey continues. You either know about it or you don't. That's all I've got to say about that. If you want the too long didn't read version, start trying to be a wrestler. In July 2016, it was covered on What Culture Wrestling, a YouTube channel I work for. Make sure you subscribe to that and make sure you smash subscribe here. You know how YouTube works. And people like to keep updated with it, which is awesome. Very humbling, very inspiring, very motivational. And, you know, kind of the biggest response I had is when I went out to South Korea. Obviously, I get it. But I went out to South Korea and I did indeed win the H Championship. More information on that soon. Don't worry. I've got news to drop about that. And so I thought, okay, every time I win something or I do something different, I will ensure to shout it out and talk about it. So as you can see here, I got a cool little throne, a crown, I should say, not a throne, which probably isn't going to fit in. It also doesn't fit my head. Little story for you. I've actually got in touch with, I have to take it off because it does not fit my head. I've actually got in touch with customer services for shops before and said, your one size fits all hat is an absolute lie. Now, really, this is my issue. I have a giant head, even though maybe sometimes it doesn't look like it, although it probably does most of the time. Anyway, let's not get off track. Why the hell did I just put a crown on my head? You may be asking yourself. Well, this past weekend on Friday, I should say, I went down to Castlefest, which was in Luton, which was a real big deal for me because I'm from Luton. And when you get to go anywhere that you recognize and you know the area and your parents live like 10 minutes down the road, it's a bit like, well, this is a full circle thing. I loved wrestling when I was a kid and watching it again in that house. And then here we are so many years later and I'm actually getting to perform. How crazy, how crazy is that? So it was for UPW. They run there every year, I believe. And yeah, they have a Raw Rumble. That's how they, it wasn't actually the main event, it was the semi-main event. The semi-main event of their show. It's a really cool setup as well because because again, it's a festival indoors. So you have a wrestling match band. And I'll give you the fourth one. I took on Percy Traynor in the second match of the night. Got screwed over there because that son of a gun decided he'd rake me right in the eyes. What a piece of trash that guy is. So hey, that's how these things go. Some people are assholes, some people aren't. But he wouldn't put his Infinity Championship on the line, but then he was forced to in the semi-main event, which was the Raw Rumble. And so it's twofold, really. A, I did indeed win that Rumble, so I became the Infinity Champion, as you can see in the thumbnail, and I won this crown because, of course, I'm King of Castlefest. I won the damn Raw Rumble. Now, there's two things about this. I mean, A, say what you want about wrestling accolades. They mean something to me because, in the past, like Vince Russo, for example, I'm going to do a video of him soon too, but in the late 90s was, belts are nothing more than props. Whatever. You can argue it however you want to argue it. I ain't gonna get on your case. But for me, when anybody that's a promoter or is involved in wrestling decides, oh, look, we're going to give this guy a shot, we're going to give this guy a belt, we're going to give this guy a crown, we're going to make this guy the focal point of our evening, that's incredibly, well, it's amazing for me. It does wonders for my confidence. It kind of, it doesn't bookend anything, but it's like a nice little flagpole as we continue on this wrestling journey. I'll use that word again. We have no idea where it's going to go. And I loved it. And also, to win a Royal Rumble, right? If you're any kind of wrestling fan, you've been watching the Royal Rumble for years. And to win obviously it was a Battle Royal before that, but to win a Royal Rumble, I came out at number 11. There was 20 people in it total. And I got to chuck a couple of people out. And obviously, clearly, because at the end, there was only one person left standing, and that was me. And it was just really, really cool. I can't explain it. I'm sure you either get it or you don't. And again, I think when you start looking back, you realize sort of how far you've come, because my first ever match, at least, showcase match, whatever you want to call it, public match, was in Defiant Wrestling, rest in peace, in their Rumble. And I think back to how nervous and how I still get nervous. As I record this, I'm about to shoot out the door to head to Milton Keynes to fight David Starr at IPW. You have no idea how apprehensive I am about this, because to me, that's like, I can't think of a team in the lower leagues now. Rochdale. Well, it's like Rochdale taking on Manchester United, but as Rochdale proved recently, well, let's not get into football. But, these things all come together to make you realize how far you've come, how much things are changing. I like to think that I'm getting better. I feel like I'm getting better. I'm not saying I'm the finished article. I know I say that a lot on these videos, but I understand how the internet works. You may not have seen the other ones. He thinks he's brilliant. I'm still green. I'm still a novice. I'm still finding my way through all of this, and I'm still getting loads of help from other people. Without that help, I don't think I would be improving. But I certainly feel like I am heading in the direction. That is the coolest thing. It's like learning an instrument. It's like getting better at a sport. It's like getting good at a video game, whatever it is that floats your boat. When you can take a moment, look back and think to yourself, I feel a bit more self-assured in this area. Or if somebody asks me to do this, I know how to respond to that. And even if it means this, and somebody giving me a crown I have to balance on my head, I think it's cool. And I think it all adds up to not only justifying what you're doing, but making you feel good and making you enjoy it. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. If you're not enjoying things, you're not happy, you're not having fun, why the hell do it? I understand sometimes those feelings get waylaid by other emotions. So, for example, right now, genuinely quite intimidated by this match because if you don't know about David Starr, I mean, I would certainly consider him one of the premier, I'll use the term indie workers, someone that doesn't work for WWE, AEW, so on and so forth. I consider him one of the premier workers. So to put your own skills up against that and not really knowing, I mean, look, he's so good, it almost doesn't matter. He can drag me along, but to put yourself in that kind of scenario, it's brand new for me. And I've done this with other people as well. I fought a few guys now that I would consider, top draw, I guess, for lack of a better term. But, that nervousness and that apprehension, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, that kind of sits below the surface. But when all is said and done, even if it didn't go to plan, right, which obviously I hope that doesn't happen, but even if it doesn't go to plan, ultimately, when all is said and done, and before and after and during, if you're not enjoying the experience, then probably something else, maybe there's something not quite right about it, but that hasn't been the case with wrestling at all. I mean, I'm sore and some of my joints hurt, like my wrist at the moment. It's just a nightmare and I have no idea why. But that's just something that comes along with being a wrestler. Like, you have to expect that. I'm going to get in a ring and get someone to slam me around. If you don't think that's going to result in, feeling this way, then you'd be nuts. But yeah, it's a crazy thing. I absolutely love it. I don't know. I'm booked through the end of the year, so keep an eye on my Twitter at SimonMiller316. I have no idea where it's going to go, but given that my initial goal was just to have a single match, I'm all right taking it day by day, doing my wrestling, doing my YouTube, doing these other opportunities that keep coming my way, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And that's my latest update. Again, I do have a Patreon that supports all of this, which is patreon.com/Simon316. There's a link in the description below. Check it out. If you want to give something great, if you don't, not a problem. Even $1 helps. Because if everyone throws in $1, I'd be like, oh, look at that. I just doubled my money. But if you don't want to do that, please do subscribe. Like I say, lifeblood of the channel. Like the video, share the video. And hey, look, if you are going to be in the local area where I am wrestling, buy a ticket. Come on down. It won't just be me you get to see. You'll see a bunch of incredible performers. I mean, it's rare that I'm on a card that I don't watch the other wrestling matches and go, man, these guys are great. I hope I don't let the team down. King of Castlefest, Infinity Champion. I'll see you soon.